I'm going to talk about creating a tubular cast-on edge for a double rib fabric in 3 different methods. You prepare each method like you would as if you were going to do it with single rib, and then you have to make some adjustments to make it into a double rib fabric. So the first method I'm going to start with is a stockinette stitch base fabric. I've cast on some stitches with waste yarn, just using a simple cast on, a half hitch or an E-loop cast on, and then I've worked 3 rows of stockinette stitch. My swatch I want to be 20 stitches, so I cast on half. So I have 10 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches on my needle. I've worked my 3 rows of stockinette stitch. I'm going to start with a purl row now. And so I'm looking at the back of the fabric. And at the bottom I see these little bumps here. I'm going to be picking those up, alternating with the stitches on the needle. To make a double rib fabric, you start with purling 2 on the needle. So I'm going to purl 2 on the needle, and then I'm going to reach down and start to get the bumps. I'm going to pick up 2 bumps one at a time and knit them. Then I purl 2, pick up my next 2 bumps. Doesn't matter how you pick them up, just so that they're knit without being twisted. Purl 2, work 2 bumps, purl 2, work 2 bumps, alright, now what I'm going to do, I have 2 stitches on my needle, 1 bump left. I'm going to purl 1, and I'm going to pick up this bump, and I'm actually going to purl it. So I'm going to rearrange it on the needle so it's sitting properly, and then I'm going to purl it. That's my 2 purls. And now I need 2 knits. Because when you do this method, you always get an uneven number of stitches, and I need 20. So I am 1 short. So I'm going to knit in the front and the back of this last stitch. And that will get me my 20 stitches. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So you can turn your work over then, and you can begin to work your double rib fabric. If you look at it, you can see that you have 2 knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls. So your action here on this next row will be to purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and continue on in your Okay, so that's what you look like. You end up having 2 purls here and 2 knits on this side. And then when you turn it over, you have 2 purls to do on the first, and there you have your double fabric. Then you can remove your waste yarn, and you'll have a nice tubular edge on the end. The next method that I want to discuss is the yarn over method. And I've used a provisional cast on here. I did a crochet chain. I picked up in the bumps doing yarn overs between the bumps. And in this method, you get 1 extra stitch. So I actually have 21 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21. So I'm going to have to adjust on this one by decreasing a stitch. What I've done is I've picked up and got my stitches, and then I've worked 2 passes or 1 complete row of double knitting. So after I've done that, I only worked 1 pass because I wanted my tube to be very small to adjust for the double rib fabric. You can do more passes if you want, whatever you think that you want for your project. But this one just has the minimal. It only has 1 complete row of double knitting. So now I'm ready to adjust my stitches, and in the last method we picked up bumps 2 by 2. Here we're going to be switching the stitches. We're going to be trading the stitches out. So first of all, to adjust, to get rid of one, I'm going to go ahead and knit 2 together here. I want a knit stitch. If I can get a knit stitch as the first stitch in my row, I'm very happy. So there I have 1 knit. Now I would want another knit stitch for my pattern of double rib. So my next knit stitch is here. This is a purl. So I'm going to trade places with these 2. I'm going to make sure that the knit stitch passes in front of the purl stitch. And you can do this a number of different ways. I'm just going to pop them off, reach behind and catch my purl stitch, take my right needle and grab my knit stitch so they're crossed like this. Put this back on and then knit it. So I'll have 2 knits. Now I'll have 2 purls together. So I'm going to go ahead and purl those. And the next one would be a knit. I do have a knit here, so I'm going to knit that. Now I come into another section where I have to work another knit next. So I'm going to trade these 2 stitches. I'm just going to pop them off, stick my left needle in the purl, catch my right needle in the knit, and trade them. And then I have my knit stitch. So I'll knit that one. Now I have 2 purls together. I'll knit work those purls, and then I have a knit stitch next. Now I have to trade. Pop them off, pick up the purl, pick up the knit, and then work them. So I have a knit, 2 purls, and a knit. Time to cross. Knit, 2 purls, knit, time to cross. Two knits there, and then end in 2 purls. And that's how you cross the stitches to get your double rib fabric. Then on the next row, you would continue in your double rib fabric, and you can pretty much see how it's starting to come together here. All right, so that's the yarn over method. The last method that I want to talk about is the alternating cast on method. It's where you don't use any waste yarn at all. You cast on with the alternating cast on. I worked, again, 1 complete row of double knitting after I cast on the stitches. And with an alternating cast on, you can cast on as many stitches as you want, whether it be the even or uneven. You can make a knit, make sure that you have a knit as a first stitch or a purl as a first stitch. It's very versatile, and I like the fact that it doesn't use any waste yarn. You don't have to worry about pulling anything apart. And then you can work, like I said, I just did 1 complete row of double knitting. So now I'm ready to trade my stitches. It's very similar to this last method that I showed you just before, only you don't have to do any kind of compensation for decreases or increases. So my first stitch that I'm going to do here is a knit. It's the same thing as the last method. You knit it, then you have to trade. So I'm going to pop this off, catch the purl, catch the knit, and knit it. Then I'm going to have 2 purls, and a knit. I'm going to trade these. This yarn is kind of splitty today. Time to trade. Let that knit stitch fall to the front because it has to cross in front. 2 purls and knit. Time to trade them out. Almost to the end here. And the last 2 purls. So then on the next row, you'll have your double rib fabric, you can see. Okay, so that's the third method, the alternating cast on. Now I did want to just show you a little bit. Here is one that's complete. I have my tubular edge here, my double rib fabric. I'm coming up to the top and I want to do a tubular bind off. So I have worked my double rib. I'm coming to the point where I have to trade the stitches. So we have to trade the stitches back to single rib. So I have a knit stitch first. The next stitch I want to be is a purl. My purl stitch is over here. So I'm going to trade it out. I'll knit 1. I'll pop the next 2 stitches off. I'm going to catch my knit stitch in front, grab my purl stitch in the back. Oh, you'll figure out some kind of way to do this. Catch my purl, catch my knit might be a better way, okay? So I have a knit, a purl, a knit, a purl, a knit. So you can go pretty far before you have to trade again. So okay, I'm going to catch, let me do it the other way, catch the purl, then catch the knit. Stick them back on my needle and work them as far as I can. So I got a purl, knit, I'm going to purl, knit, purl, knit, time to trade. Catch the purl, catch the knit, trade them out, purl, knit, purl, knit, time to trade. I'll reach behind, catch the purl, catch the knit, trade them out, purl, knit, purl, knit, reach behind, catch the purl, pop the knit off, catch it, trade them out, purl, knit, purl. So now I've gone back to my single rib sequence. Now I will do 2 passes of double knitting like I did at the bottom, and then I will bind off in Kitchener stitch. So you'll have a tubular edge at the top. Very nice matching. So that's double rib, tubular, cast on, and bind off.